Welcome back. Let's take a quick look at what's happening on the covers of the dailies. Mary is here with me.
Hi, Titi. All right.
Yeah, so quite a lot on the headlines this morning. We're starting with the Guardian newspaper.
Okay.
And today is Monday, December 9th, 2024. Tax reform bills. States eye 180% hike in VAT earnings amid push for fiscal federalism. And now there's an infographic right there on the cover of The Guardian showing the VAT growth trend since increased to 7.5%. That's covering 2021 to 2024. And a scenario mapping for VAT reforms, the most likely scenarios with and with, unlikely scenarios with the reform and likely scenarios with the reform. It's all broken down there, quite detailed, if you ask me, Mary. But there are other headlines here as well. It says, measure tax bills impacts on human rights, Serap tells NAS. Funding weak. Political will, bedeviling a varsity system. Stakeholders task states on 2030 family planning target. NCDC tells health facilities to intensify checks for SARS-CoV-2 variants. And you failed workers, labor group flays NLC TUC. Ghana's electoral process inspired by Nigeria, says INEC. And minister operators FCC PC bicker over airfare pricing and regulatory rights. That's what we have on the cover of The Guardian.
I'm struggling to decide which to talk about between the varsity system and the SARS-CoV-2 variant. So I'm just going to quickly talk on the SARS-CoV-2 variant. So there have been reports that it's actually a major deal now, and people are being encouraged to use their face mask again.
Wow.
Now, we do not know the extent because we have not been given the details, but I would recommend that people use their face mask. It's about time for us to take out that face mask. If you have the cloth ones, wash them again. And if you have the medical ones, it's time for you to start using them again. You could say due to dust and all, but let's also remember that this December, a lot of IJGB are going to be in town. I just got back. And so you want to be extra careful, okay? This is no panic, okay? Do not panic. It's just a case of you taking measures to protect yourself, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so
I was actually going to say that wearing a mask in public is actually healthier in the long run. Because the crowds are quite intense.
Yes.
And
I actually miss wearing a face mask, so I'm glad I can wear it back because you can be in places, then the dust, then the fumes, and you just say to yourself, if you wear face mask, people still look at you odd, and then you feel, okay, well, no issue. But now I have 100% reason
to wear them. And of course, more importantly, washing your hands is very
key, please.
Yes.
Remember all we knew and learned during COVID? It's about time to remember them and implement them. Okay, so let's go to the next newspaper, the Tribune. Nigerian Tribune newspaper has this as the bold headline. PDP chair, pro-Damagun forces plan takeover of BOT. Other stakeholders mount pressure on David Mark to take over in February. 61 BOT members face uncertainty over plot. Wabara under pressure over stance on tenure of acting chairman. States have power to nominate tenured BOT members, and that's coming from their National Publicity Secretary. Here we also see at University of Oxford Management Conference, $100 billion in failed mega projects in Nigeria presents development opportunities, Jimo Ibrahim says. Now, multiple handling charges leave $1.5 billion Lagos-Ibadan cargo train stranded at Lagos Port. Consumer rights violation, FCCPC cautions airpeace against obstructing inquiry. Data by DMO validates Osun's success in debt management. And that's coming from Adeleke's spokesperson. Still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, tax reform bills have no provisions for consultants on tax collection. How inflation, high cost of raw materials dampen manufacturers' confidence in food, beverage, textile sectors. Up here we see Assad flees to Russia. as Syrian rebels topple government. Opposition leader calls for 18-month transition period before election. Ghana's ex-president, John Mahama, wins re-election. Rival concedes defeat. Tinubu congratulates him. And finally, on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper, FEMS, Eurobond issuance bolster forex reserves, Naira stability. All of these stories and more you can catch on the front page and in, of course, the Nigerian Tribune newspaper today.
I found the photo story interesting. I think it was similar to the one we saw in the first paper. That was
The Guardian, yeah.
Now, this is the executive director of Zenith Bank, Mr. Henry Oro, executive director of Mrs. Adaobi Nwakwa, with their children there, all wearing the Christmas
I'm pretty sure
caps.
the twins were what attracted you.
Yeah, well, not just that, because Ajose Adeogun Road has become a major tourist attraction for Christmas over the years. And I believe this is a photo taken somewhere close to there, on that street, of course, during the youth parade.
For me, the big one, though, is Assad, because, he did reach out to Putin for aid. And Putin was like, my hands are full. I think you should get out of the country before you are gotten. And so he managed to flee. And everyone expected that he was going to go to Russia. So there's no surprise there. However, the prime minister wasn't as fortunate. The rebels have asked him to hand over and all that. There's a lot of drama going on around that right now. But then, of course, for those who have been following the Syrian story, we do know how things have been progressing, especially what happened in 2023. And then now this is like the climax of it all. Fingers crossed as to how this ends, though. Yeah, fingers crossed.
Goodness me. Now, we have the Daily Times with us as well. It says it's still on tax issue again. Tax bills. Assess human rights impact. Serap urges NAS. And it is an issue. There was an infographic on one of the other papers giving a full breakdown. And this is really important. I can still remember when it moved, when the VAT moved from 5% to 7.5%, and it had a major impact on how people did business. And of course, over the years, it's been, I don't know how effective it's been, but the infographic seems to make it seem like it's had a major impact. Now, it says here there's an Accra-bound flight lost 2 engines, returned to Abuja, and investigations begin. Now, that is a scary thought. Flights, most aircraft have multiple engines, and if one is lost, at least with the second one, they can at least get to their destination. But if you hear that 2 engines are lost, that's a major mayday, if you understand what I mean. It says here also on maritime safety, NIMET and MOCA partner to enhance marine weather. CITN urges journalists to promote accurate tax reform discourse. INEC bosses urge staff welfare as Co-op declares 12.7 million dividends. And one more time, the same headline on Ghana, Tinubu congratulates Mahama by phone. That's what we have on the cover of the Daily Times.
Okay. The Daily Times newspaper, I think the CTTN urging journalists to promote accurate tax reform discourse is actually key, because a lot of things about the tax reform is still not clear enough for people. So people want to know more, people want to understand it better. So perhaps the CTTN should also have some of their people contact media houses to be able to educate the general populace as well. I'm pretty sure media houses will be more than willing to collaborate to at least educate the people, because there are so many gray areas that people still do not understand about the recent tax reform. Okay, taking a look at the Daily Independent now. Bleak Christmas is as banks hoard cash. Oh, no, not again. Analysts ask CBN to act fast before festive period. Here we also see Serap asked Akpabio Abbas to match human rights with tax reform bills. Disquiet in NCAA as Najomo's acting tenure ends on Thursday. Tinubu congratulates Ghana's president-elect, says his ascension will stabilize ECOWAS. Flybird loses 2 engines midair as NSIB launches investigation. Fancy being on that plane at that point. Imagine what could be going through the minds of the people on it.
Scary.
Enugu crashes external debt by $39.8 million. Mba leads 17 new governors in external debt reduction. Ousted Syrian Assad family in Moscow granted asylum. Telco subscribers sets benchmark for new tariff regime review. NCC announces new tariff plan December 13. Yeah. All of these stories and more you can catch in the daily independent newspaper, so it does seem like we'll be paying more for phone calls, data, and the rest.
Wow. We're definitely watching all these stories, and we will be, appreciative of your comments and contributions. Use our hashtag WakeUpNigeria on TVC and tag us Wake Up Nigeria TVC with your thoughts. All right, then let's take a quick break right now. We'll be back after this.